your flesh and blood.
Welcome to Tell Me Your Story with Dennis Henson. This is a brand new series we hope that you will enjoy, and it's called Body of Health. Dennis, welcome, and let us start out by telling people about, I guess best way to put it is, our disclaimer.
Okay. Well, Richard, thank you so much for having me on this series. I'm really excited about doing this, but I think it's very important that everyone understand that neither of us are medical doctors or have any kind of medical training. We are just people who are very interested in health and being able to get better faster, so that if you have some problem, that gives you a place to go to find things that have worked for other people that may help you, or they may not, but there'll be something worthwhile checking out.
Body of Health is going to be here every week. The website that we're going to suggest you go to for information, number one website is dennisjhenson.com, which we will have in the audio and video podcast videocast. But there's also a Facebook location, and basically it's facebook.com/groups/body of health. Once again, facebook.com/groups, that's plural, groups/body of health. We hope that you will go there to check out the information that Dennis has provided with us. And with that, we move into Body of Health. I'm Reverend Dr. D. He is Dennis Henson, and we're here to share with you those things that we hope can help you with improving your health and your well-being. There's always a room for improvement, even if you're doing great. And Dennis, I have to share with you, first of all, it's great to see you again and talk with you again about what I think is going to be a very informative and important program as well.
Well, thank you, Richard. I enjoy these programs, and I really appreciate you having me.
I want to share with you that my mother posted a photograph that shows her and three other elderly women, and they refer to themselves as the yoga ladies. And they're sitting around this table having coffee or tea. Most likely my mother's having tea. And it was just a post saying, hey, this is me and my yoga ladies. My mother will be 92 here in September of 2026. And it is always not only good to see her, but also knowing that she has been doing the things that she has needed to do to keep her body in good health. And that's why you and I are here, as far as that's concerned, to talk about this. So very excited about this program, which also ties into something that, at least as of our conversation here, it's probably long past out of the news and so forth. I'm sure you hear about this all the time as well, but apparently there is and this is sort of a sidebar thing, a cruise ship that apparently has some problems with, in this case, it was a virus that apparently was contracted, and now people are off the ship and moving around, and so you got to be careful with that. But there are bacteria, there are viruses, there's all kinds of stuff floating around out there that hopefully our immune systems can take care of. But today we're going to talk about heavy metals, and we're also going to talk about parasites, Dennis. Now, you say that ignoring these toxins is, no pun intended, ladies and gentlemen, if it were tax time, is a tax on our longevity. Where do we begin with this, Dennis? Because, we all want good health, but, we want to avoid these kinds of things.
We certainly do. Before we jump into this, though, I think it's important that we mention that neither of us are doctors. We don't have any medical training. We're only talking about what we've learned on our own health and longevity journeys. Mm-hmm. And you should always seek the help of a professional before making any drastic changes.
Well, that's absolutely correct. And yes, I do use that acronym, if you will, of Reverend Doctor. Has nothing to do with medicine. Has to do with archival work for people. But it's good advice to always remind people of please check with your health practitioner. Now, it's probably best to start out by explaining what are parasites. Now, just share with you real quick videos regarding type 2 diabetes. One of the alleged, I don't know this for a fact, one of the alleged causes is a parasite somewhere around the pancreas. And that here's what you do to get rid of the parasite. And I'm thinking, well, first I'm told it's too much sugar and carbs. And now I'm being told it's parasites. And I also discovered early on it could be stress. Stress affects the hormones, and insulin is a hormone. So help us to understand what is a parasite.
Well, Richard, parasites are tiny organisms that sneak into your body and steal your energy and health. And they leave a toxic trail behind. They act like sponges and soak up dangerous heavy metals, such as mercury and lead, which wreak havoc on your system. In fact, these metals, they can hold the parasites and the bad things at levels thousands of times higher than your tissue alone. And because of that, your immune system can't see them. So the heavy metals, the parasites hide themselves in the heavy metals, and your immune system can't see them. So things get bad before you realize what's happening. So parasites make themselves stronger, and the heavy metals act like armor and hiding them from your natural defenses.
Hmm. I had also heard too, and there are tests that one can take to be tested for parasites, but I have a feeling it's more, a sample of this or a sample of that and that kind of thing. But I had also heard of a particular, I believe it was a parasite that's fairly common. And I remember when I started asking the doctor about it, because I'm always curious, where does it come from? Where do these parasites come from? And I'm curious as to some of the more common ones that I don't know, maybe we've even heard of. As a matter of fact, there is even one, I think, that I associate with canines. And I don't know this is a fact or not. There's tapeworms and round the hookworm is the one that got me, but there are others as well.
Yeah, some of them include pinworms, tapeworms, roundworms, hookworms, liver flukes, and there are others.
Hmm. Now, curious, how do these little devils get into your body? I mean, I'm not drinking water straight out of the lake or that kind of thing, or eating the fruits and vegetables right off of the trees or out in the farm field, because we've also heard that one too about, for example, specifically lettuce. A lot of times you'll hear reports of E. coli, which is not a parasite, but I'm not doing the dangerous stuff. Although as a kid I did probably eat my fair share of dirt, just by kicking it up and breathing it in or what have you. But where do
Yeah.
these things come from?
Well, they sneak in through your food, in your water. If you don't wash your hands regularly,
Mm-hmm.
you can get them from there, and especially when you play with your pets. In fact, I understand that if you have pets that you pet, and
Mm-hmm.
you play with them, you're probably already have parasites, whether you know it or not.
Well, does this mean that if my pets have parasites? I mean, what? It's okay. Do I then get rid of my pets? So what in the world is going on? And does this mean that I have a pet? I probably have parasites, as you stated. So if you have parasites, what kind of symptoms are we looking at?
Brain fog, exhausted. You may feel grumpy or bloated. because these little thieves are eating your vitamins and stealing your energy.
I know that one of the words used in the title of our programs has to do with detoxing. How do we get rid of these parasites? I mean, I've seen the videos on type 2 diabetes and the association they've made with an alleged parasite, and they give you the recipe and everything. But, there's got to be a way. I mean, we're always looking for those ways to cleanse the system. How do we do that?
Well, you may have guessed that that's what today's program is going to be on. We're going to talk about a protocol to remove the heavy metals and then remove the parasites.
It's funny. I remember what flashed in my mind just now was from an old Star Trek episode where somebody was contaminated, and the transporter in that particular phase in the generations and so forth had a filtration system that if you had gone through the transporter when you were healthy, everything was good to go, they had your pattern and it was sort of saved in memory. So what they do is they would put you on the pad, they would transport you out and then bring you back through that filter of that old pattern that they saved, and it would get rid of all of that stuff. I wish it was that easy, Dennis, but I know that there's a lot more to that. How do we? What's our process? Where do we start?
Well, the first thing you need to do is unlock all the exit doors, because you can do a parasite cleanse, but if your urinary system, your digestive system, and your integumentary system, which is, your kidneys working very well, it doesn't do any good. You're just wasting your time, because there has to be a way for them to get out. So if all those systems are working perfectly, then it's the time that you can remove the heavy metals and the parasites. And today, that's what we'll be talking about. The process, it's a long process. It takes about 10 weeks, and you should do it a couple of times a year.
And it will be worth it, because if you start doing it and you get through it for those 10 weeks, you still have 32 weeks in the year, because if you're going to do it again in 6 months, you're going to do another 10 weeks, and that's fine. And that means that those 32 weeks, or in this case, 16 between those processes, you're going to feel pretty good. And right. Even if you aren't feeling badly the second time around, 6 months down the road, hey, so that's great, because you're going to then flush out these, if there are still remaining, or if you've managed to contract new ones along the way. And we're going to do that. But first, we're going to remind you this is the Body of Health. I'm Reverend Dr. D. He's Dennis Henson, and we are talking about this whole process of heavy metals, and parasites. And of course, we're going to get into the protocols here of detoxing. But I want to remind you that you can go to bodyofhealth.life, and you can, as I just received my latest shipment of Morning Clarity coffee. And I really, really enjoy it. Now, as you and I have conversed here, I only was able to drink about a half a cup this morning, because I had to run my wife over to get some blood work done. So I'm going to go, interestingly enough, doesn't bother me in the least, Dennis. I'm just going to go turn the coffee maker on to heat up the pot. All right. I'll take what's left in my cup. I'll put it in the microwave and heat it up. And then I just start where I left off for the day. A few-hour-old coffee doesn't bother me. It still tastes doggone good and feels good as well. Also, finding other things there, maybe even elements that we're going to mention here in the program today for this detoxification of parasites. We'll find some of those ingredients at bodyofhealth.life. We also encourage you to go to DennisJHenson.com and find out about the Health tab and all of the good things you can connect to through that Health tab on the DennisJHenson.com website. In addition to joining Body of Health group on Facebook, there's a link there. It's interesting, Dennis, on my browser, I have a bunch of tabs. 3 of them are yours: Dennis J. Henson, Body of Health, and then the Facebook group of Body of Health. And for some reason, I just leave those open, and every once in a while, I'll scroll through that the shelving on at your store, so to speak, of bodyofhealth.life, just to see what's new, because there's new stuff added all the time. Oh, by the way, folks, you looking for a discount? Well, we can give you one. You put into the field that says, code word, code phrase, coupon, or what have you. I'm not sure what the name of the field is, Dennis, but put in radio. All right, and you will get a discount of 20%. And that is not a bad deal, let me tell you. So please go to those websites and continue to listen to Body of Health, the series here on Tell Me Your Story. Reverend Dr. D, Dennis Henson, and we're talking about heavy metals and parasites and detoxification. And it's time now in this segment to have you, Dennis, share with us the protocol. How do we detox ourselves specifically right now from the parasites that we've been talking about?
Well, first we're going to remove the heavy metals.
Okay.
Actually, that's second. The first thing we're going to do is open up all the exits, then remove the heavy metals, and then we're going to talk about parasites. Because if you don't do it in that order, you're just wasting your time. You think you'll be accomplishing something, but you won't be accomplishing as much as you want it to. So the very first thing is, we said there were three things. You have to have your lymphatic system working. Most people believe that the most fluid in your body is your blood, but that's not the case. The lymphatic fluid, there's more of that in your body than there is blood. Now, the blood has a pump. It has the heart, which moves everything around. But your lymphatic system, which is how you rid your body of the bad things throughout this very small things throughout your systems, all of your systems. It takes it to the kidneys and it takes it to your digestive system and moves it out. But if that fluid is not moving, then everything just stays and accumulates. So the first thing that we need to do is work on getting that lymphatic system moving and working and expelling the bad things. Well, how do you do that? You do it by jumping up and down. Now, you can do a tightrope, a skip rope, or you can just jump up and down. But the easiest way to do it is to get a rebounder. You get a little small rebounder. You can find them pretty much anywhere. And you just jump up and down on that for 2 to 5 minutes, twice a day. Now, what that does is it causes your lymphatic fluid to start to move. And you've already started cleaning the bad things out of your body as soon as you start this. Now, this is a habit. It's not a one-time thing. You do this throughout the process. And really, the best thing to do is continue all the way through until the 6 months later to keep everything moving so that you don't accumulate a lot of bad things. So that's the first thing. Form the habit of rebounding 3 to 5 minutes every single day. The second thing is we want to clean out our gut, get our digestive system moving. So you want to do a vitamin C flush, which removes any biofilms or toxins that have accumulated in your digestive system. So you just mix high dose vitamin C and water, and we'll go through the process in just a minute. But the vitamin C flush creates a natural pressure wash to flush out your system. So now we've got your lymphatic system working. We've got your digestive system cleaned out with a vitamin C flush. And here's how the vitamin C flush works. You dissolve 2,000 milligrams of buffered vitamin C powder in 4 ounces of water. And every 15 minutes, you drink that down. You drink those 4 ounces of water down. Make sure you have an empty stomach when you start. And you continue this. You want to keep a count of how many times you do this. But you continue until the flush occurs. You'll know when that happens. And a good idea is not to do the rebounding while you're doing the vitamin C flush.
No.
So after it takes place, you want to rest for a couple of hours, maybe even the rest of the day. But if you don't do anything else but these first two things, form the habit of rebounding and do the vitamin C flush, you will have done a world of good for your body.
Hmm. Well, there are a lot of other things you don't want to be doing when jumping up and down too. Uh, you want to do some rebounding before you eat or drink. Number one, okay.
Right.
You don't want to shake all that stuff up inside of you. That's not going to be good. So make sure that you do those kinds of things. And then I have to say too that we're in the process of getting one of those rebounders, and we're actually just for our own personal safety, especially my wife's. We're going to put up a little rail or little handholds. Maybe put this be rebounder up against a wall somewhere, so that at least we've got something to maintain our stability. Because you get moving up and down an awful lot. uh, you can. It's possible to get just a little equilibrium issue. That kind of thing. So do it carefully. Find a way to do that. I've even seen some rebounders that actually come with handles. They come with the bar that comes
Yeah.
up and across, and it also has a screen or a display where you can keep track of maybe your heart rate and that kind of thing. It's very interesting and intricate. Some of these can get, and they're in essence a personal trampoline. And it's really kind of cool. So we're looking forward to getting that installed, and going down that road. So now that we have rebounding every day, we're starting to do this every day, and we have, so to speak, pressure washed the system with the vitamin C cleanse. The exits are officially wide open. The floodgates are open, so to speak. Does that mean that we are ready for the binders, shall we say?
Absolutely. Once you've done these things, your exit doors are open and you're ready to get started. Um, the binding regime, the starting the binding requires that you have several things. Uh, First of all, burdock root. I don't know. Have you ever heard of a burdock root
I,
before, Richard?
I actually have. I have a funny feeling we may have even had some either in the cupboard or the fridge just to sustain it. But I have heard of it. It's supposed to be really, really beneficial.
Okay, so now you've done the vitamin C, you've done the burdock root, which purifies your blood. It's going to clean out the bad things in your blood. And then you continue with the heavy metal. The heavy metal detox is going to take out the harmful bacteria, yeast, and parasites. So,
I was thinking, wouldn't I just get a big old magnet?
well, that's basically what we're going to do in just a minute.
Okay. You got the binding and so forth, burdock. Yeah, that's an interesting route too. So that's the second thing. What is the third thing that we're going to be doing here?
Okay, you may have to have to edit this. It's kind of getting a little out of phase.
That's all right.
Let's
You've got
start
something
with
listed here
Richard.
as
You
a
said,
prescribed binder.
okay. Can you start there where it said you said quite boldly that you cannot detox without a binder? Okay, can you start right there?
All right. You say that you cannot detox without a binder. What is that about?
Well, without the binder, all you've done is caused the parasites to realize they're going to die. And once they realize they're going to die, they release all of their toxins in your bloodstream and in your body. And without the binder to remove them, all you've done is caused yourself to become ill. It's going to be a bad thing rather than a good. So you see these advertisements where you get these this detox, and you're going to get all the parasites out, and you take it. But if you don't take the binder, it's going to actually be worse for your body than helps you. It leaves a lot of like a lot of small explosions that can cause you to have headache and fatigue. Your joints will ache. You'll become nauseous, have dizzy spells, chills, and sweat, and it can just really make you feel bad. So it's imperative that you do the binders first, then you do the detox, and then you do the binders again to make sure that everything that you've killed doesn't just explode and leave worse things in its place.
So there is an important protocol that we need to follow. Otherwise, and this would be true even if you were dealing with your medications. They call them contraindicators.
Right.
Matter of fact, I knew a woman I worked with who was on 9 different medications, and I encouraged her to go to her doctor to find out what each one of these was for. Turns out that the first one had side effects. So he gave her a second one for the side effects from number 1. Side effects of number 2, he gave her number 3, and ended up with 9. So eventually, she actually did get off all of them, including the first one. So that's real important to keep in mind is you got to check with your healthcare professional. You want to make sure there are no contraindicators. And as you have just described, you've got to do these particular protocols in the proper order, at the proper volume, and so forth, because you don't want to. I'm sorry, but I have a feeling, Dennis, if I'm not mistaken here, when we're talking about a lot of this stuff, we don't want to go down the road where it's got to get worse before it gets better. That's not really where we want to go. So you're basically saying quite boldly, of course, all of these different things and going through this process. So let me ask you, how does a binder actually grab a toxin? I use the metaphor of a magnet for the heavy metals. But what is the physics behind all of this?
Well, you're right. It's like a magnet. The bad things in your body, mold, mildew, viruses, everything that you can name that's bad, all carry a positive electric charge. All of the binders that we're going to be talking about that we put in our body carry a negative charge, which they attract. The binders attract all of the bad stuff, encapsulate them, and then you've already got all your exit doors open, so then it moves them out of your body in 3 different ways. Through your skin, through your digestive, and your urinary tract. So, and also the lymphatic system is also grabbing things and placing them in those exit areas. So bad actors like lead, mercury, and aluminum accumulate in your system because you breathe it in. If like I do, I walk every day, I run a lot, and sometimes these great big trucks pass and they leave this smog and you inhale that, and that's bringing in heavy metals into your body. If you've had, I don't know, if you're my age and you had dental work, you got heavy metals because they put them in your fillings, and a lot of people are still walking around those heavy metals in their teeth, which move into the rest of their body. So, because of that magnetism effect, the positive and the negative,
right?
Doing this process helps move everything out that's bad.
And there are certain effective binders, aren't there?
Oh yeah, there are. First of all, activated charcoal. Now, activated charcoal, you need to be careful with activated charcoal because it's like turmeric. If you get it on your clothes, you're going to have a black black spot on your clothes. And it's very fine powder. So
Yeah.
you open it up, and you be careful not to inhale it. You have to just, well, be careful with, maybe get it in encapsulated form.
Yeah.
Uh, I like to take a spoonful and mix it in a glass of water and drink it down. Now, activated charcoal traps mold and mycotoxins and industrial chemicals. So that would be one of the binders. You don't take all the binders at once. You're going
Right.
to rotate. You can take one tonight, another one tomorrow, another one the next one. Zeolite is a great one. I mean, zeolite gets rid of herbicides and pesticides and volatile organic compounds. Chlorella is excellent for heavy metals also. Citrus pectin binds lead, arsenic, and mercury. Fulvic and humeric acid provide deep cellular detoxification, and bentonite clay is good for heavy metals. So you get all of these things, and you line them up and say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday during this process. And when you finish, you start back over, and you continue to do that until you're, I think we'll cover the number of weeks. I think it's about 3 weeks. We'll cover that in just a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last thing is burdock root. Now, that one is a blood cleaner. So you make that the last one. So now you've gotten all the heavy metals out, and you've cleaned your blood, your exits are working, and everything is working in your favor.
Mm. Well, okay, so we've done all of this, and we are now moving those heavy metals out. They're going out, and we're now looking towards bringing in the finisher for this one element that we've talked about before, the parasites and their eggs, right?
Yes. Okay, exactly. So these parasites have a life cycle. So if let's just say that you got rid of all of the parasites in your body, you still wouldn't be out of the woods
Mm.
because they're just like everything else. They lay lots of eggs. So the things I'm about to cover right now will not only take care of the parasites, they'll take care of the eggs.
Mm.
You can purchase these little bottles of Parasite Cleanse and use those. They have wormwood, black walnut hulls, and cloves. Now, that's pretty easy to get. You can find them pretty much anywhere. I would really suggest that you don't do that unless you do this whole process. But once you're doing this process, those are exactly what you need. The very best ones: wormwood, black walnut hulls, cloves. Now, if you want to really kick them out, add ginger, barberry root, and then for a final for a final funeral, add ivermectin for the larger parasitic loads. So once you're doing all of this stuff, you're still rebounding every day, because the first thing that we did was form a habit of rebounding so that you're keeping everything moving and pushing the bad things out all the exit doors.
Yeah, it's and I think people know what the exit doors are. I don't think we need to go into any detail in that regard, but again, keep that in mind. Keep it very much in mind. Now, we've gone through this process, and you've got some specific elements that are good in that regard, and I'm going to kind of look at some of these. Matter of fact, it's funny. I was just looking at one of these little bottles of spices or herbs that were sitting on the counter in the kitchen just this morning, and it was a little thing of those the little cloves, the beads, if you will, and so forth. But there's ginger, and there's berry root, and barberry, as well as one that actually sounds like a parasite. I'm sorry, but it does, and that's wormwood. But that's a good thing. You definitely want that. And then, of course, the black walnut hulls. And by the way, when you mentioned the charcoal, I'm thinking, well, maybe between the charcoal and the turmeric, you can do a little tie dye if you were so inclined, maybe for Halloween or something. This is very interesting. How do people actually put this into practice, is there a specific ritual or time of day? Because I know that I've heard this quite often, especially when it came to medication, specifically RX. Okay, you want to take one in the morning and one in the evening, before meal or after meal, with this, without that, and so on and so forth. So there's what is the protocol here in this regard to a lot of we've talked about, which of course people can also get the list of all of these things at actually at DennisJHenson.com. Click the health tab and scroll down, and you'll get all of this great information. But what's the sequence of events, shall we say?
Well, first of all, you do not want to do the binders after your food. You want to do them 2 hours at least. Wait 2 hours after you've eaten, because if you do them while you're or right after you eat, they're going to bind your vitamins, and that's not you want your vitamins to keep you healthy. The best time to do the detox is right before you go to bed. So if you do that right before you go to sleep, it gives your body the entire night to work with these and let them do the job that you want them to do. Then finally, a sauna. If you can take and do a sauna 3 or 4 times a week, the more times the better. That's going to take the rest of the toxins out of your skin. Your skin is the largest organ in the body, and it accumulates toxins from when you're walking, the exhaust from cars and so forth. Your skin absorbs all of that stuff, and it accumulates. So the sauna causes you to your sweat glands to push all of that out. So that's really a great addition to this. So let me recap that right there. Do not do your binders right after your meal. Wait a couple of hours. The best time to do them is right before you're going to sleep, and then every day if you can, or at least 3-4 times a week, you want to do a sauna.
Okay. Very good. Very good. And I tell you what, I've had a sauna, and it was a, what was it now? It was a infrared, I think is what they called it, sauna.
Yes.
And it was really, and I had never done saunas before. Now, I will tell you that the closest thing prior to doing one of those saunas, I actually did participate in a sweat lodge. Unfortunately, I was not able to hang in there till the very end, and I actually had to leave midway through, which they said, hey, not everybody can make it all the way through. You're okay. You're doing great. And so forth. And so they encouraged me in that respect. But I tell you what, the infrared sauna, boy, that felt so good afterwards.
Right.
I will tell you another great thing to do, maybe either before or after, a massage. And that's what my wife and I used to do, couples sauna and massage. It was really, really wonderful. Hey, what also is wonderful is you folks listening to and watching Tell Me Your Story. This is Body of Health. Bodyofhealth.life is the website where you can find a lot of these items. And we'll encourage you to also go to DennisJHenson.com, click the Health tab, scroll down to get all of the great information that we've been talking about on this particular edition of the program. And of course, Dennis J. Henson, there's also a library you can go into. As you're detoxing your body, you can start reading inspirational stuff that I'm going to go ahead and use the analogy just the same. You can help to detox your mind. Think about that. I think about if I was to take my car into the shop and say, I want all the systems cleaned out. Now, that's a heck of a lot easier to do than your body, because they just flush stuff through and drain it and then fill it with the right fluids, clean stuff, and then you're on the road and you're good to go. It takes a little longer with the human body, which is, in my opinion, Dennis, is like one giant filter. And it's constantly filtering, but it won't have to filter nearly as much if you're putting in the stuff that doesn't need to be filtered out, or you can even protect yourself from some of those toxins and so forth that enter the body. We've got more coming your way, and this is the Body of Health series here on Tell Me Your Story. Reverend Dr. D, along with Dennis Henson. And Dennis, all of this sounds like it's a full system reset, as I was mentioning before, like taking your car in. Will you go over the full schedule again for our listeners as we get close to wrapping things up here on the program?
Sure, Richard. If you go to bodyofhealth.life, there's a quick step guide. I'm going to read it to you briefly so that you can see what's in it. Week 1, form the habit of rebounding every day for 5 to 10 minutes, twice a day. Perform the vitamin C flush and do a sauna 2 or 3 times a week. Week 2 through 5, heavy metal cleaning daily. Continue rebounding daily. Take burdock root nightly. Rotate the binders that we talked about earlier, and they're listed in your quick step guide. Week 6, reset. Continue the rebounding and hydration. Stop all binders and herbal supplements. This is just going to be a rest. The only thing you continue doing is rebounding. And then week 7 through 10 is your parasite flush. You continue rebounding in the saunas. Take wormwood. Well, you take the ones that we mentioned, they're on the quick step guide, and do this twice a year. You will not believe the difference in how healthy you are, how everybody else gets a cold or a flu, and you don't. You feel good all the time. You don't have brain fog. You're even up into your late 70s. I can speak for that for good. You're able to just continue to think clearly and work hard, where other people, we just had our 60-year class reunion. My wife said, "You went to school with all those old people?" That was a pretty nice thing to hear, and if you want to hear things like that, well, make this a part of your life. So that's the quick step guide, Richard.
Well, I'll tell you, for a gentleman, we're heading towards 66 myself. It is quite gratifying every so often when I share that with one of my guests or other people that I happen to be chatting with, and it comes up, and they said, "Really? You look darn good." So I feel like, okay, I haven't done that badly since my mother raised me and tried to put the right things into my system. I haven't done a bad job. And again, as we say on this program quite regularly, there's always room for improvement, no matter how good you feel. My mom feels so great. That picture I saw of her and her yoga ladies there at the table drinking their tea or whatever it was, the beverage they were drinking, she just was smiling away. And when I talked to her on the phone, the strength in her voice, it's just wonderful to hear, And I'm just proud to have not only inherited the genes and the DNA and all that good stuff, but through their raising me, inherited, if you will, absorbed as much of the information as I have to at least not turned out probably like a lot of the people. If I was to go to my, I'm not even sure where I'm at here. Probably, let's see, 50. Mine 50 would be coming up. 50th would be coming up in a couple of years. I'd probably show up. Most of them are probably gone. And a bunch of others are probably big, and it's kind of sad in a way when you think about all these people you went to school with and they all looked great back then. And now after 50 years, and you, in your case, you went to your 60th, and you're the best, you're the healthiest, and as your wife would say, the best looking of all of these people that showed up. My father, I remember him telling me when he would go to his class reunion, of course, the classes got smaller and smaller the older he got, and I think that maybe it was maybe 10 years before his passing, he stopped going to them because there was hardly anybody left, So we want. You and me. I don't know about you, but I want to live to be 100. So I'm going to take the majority of the things that we talk about to heart. Do a lot of this stuff. And the one other thing you talked about, which I thought was interesting, we talked about sleep, especially as you get older. That whole thing. But I've also noticed too that I know I need to feed the machine, so to speak. But I'm noticing that my wife and I, we're not eating nearly as much as we used to. And we're not feeling hungry all the time. It's just that we just don't, it's just there, that isn't there. And yet I remind her when she's feeling like she doesn't want to eat, I said, you got to keep putting fuel in there. I mean, even if it's just a little. I know that's part of the equation too, isn't it?
It is. It is. I wanted to mention one other thing before we leave. If you go to Body of Health, you get the quick step guide and you think, well, where am I going to get all of these things?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've made it really easy for you because every time we do one of these programs, I give it to my secretary and I say, find these and put them up there so that people can find them. Now, it doesn't matter with me where you purchase them there or somewhere else. You know, if you're already getting your vitamins and minerals and so forth from someplace, that's fine. What matters with me is that you're healthy.
Yeah.
And that the things that we're telling you will help you to live a longer and healthier life because Richard wants to live to 100, but that 90 to 100 needs to be a happy, comfortable, healthy 90 to 100. You probably wouldn't want to, live that long if you were in a wheelchair or laying on the bed full of tubes. That's not what we want. We want it to be something really pleasant and die in our sleep because we had a good time running 10 miles the day before.
Well, I want to be able to have the kind of smile on my face in those 10 years from 90 to 100 that my mother has on her face now. And Dennis, this has been fantastic. Great advice, great information. Once again, check with your healthcare professional or your practitioner, and always know that we're here for you. Bodyofhealth.life is one website. Dennis J. Henson is the other. And Dennis, thank you again for joining me, and thank you folks for tuning in and listening to and watching Tell Me Your Story, The Body of Health. Until our next podcast, videocast. Love to all. Jeanette, I'm listening. Dad, thanks for being there and continue to be happy because I am. Mike, thanks for being in my life and letting me be in yours. To my brother, Mike, congratulations, Dad. And to my dear friend Zorro, aho, aho.